Welcome to the Hope for Healing Network. This is Cecily Henderson. Thank you for joining us in this safe space today. I have a very lovely lady on to interview. I'm so excited to introduce her and what she does. She's kind of a fast forward biohacker. I'm going to let her tell you her exact title because what she's doing is just fantastic. So, Roxanne, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm super excited to be sharing my story in your group and just getting my message out there.
I love your heart and what you're doing because you've gone through health issues yourself. You were able to heal yourself unknowingly and decided, hey, I'm going to help others. So just give us a little bit about your journey. Start from the beginning.
All right. So what I am now is I'm a fast track health hacker, DNA analyst. So I analyze DNA biomarkers of the gut, and I've figured out how to activate our own stem cells and restore the mitochondria so that you can heal the whole body. And I learned how to do it really, really quickly in a short space of time. And so that's what I do now. How it started was actually in 2020 when I had just immigrated with my husband and my cats from South Africa to Scotland in the UK. And then the world went into lockdown, and I got stuck as an immigrant between two borders with a visit visa, no legal aid, no legal papers to work. I couldn't get back to my home country because the borders were locked, and having being somebody who was already trying to manage a bunch of different health issues from stage 4 endometriosis, which I was diagnosed with at the age of 23 in 2003. And then also having, just I had a spinal surgery done in 2011, which left me paralyzed. And I mean, I've been, learned how to walk since then, but in severe chronic inflammation, whole body inflammation really, and then being stuck outside of the borders and not being able to work and running out of savings, and then lockdown. Obviously that really did throw a spanner in the works, and for the first time ever I really was scared. I'm not someone that scares easily. I always have a backup plan for everything. And for the first time, I didn't have a backup plan. And medically speaking, I felt very isolated. I didn't get the surgery that I would have normally gotten when I did have a flare up. As a woman with endometriosis, your only way to really manage your symptoms is to get surgical, keyhole surgery to, burn off the lesions, and to try and just, stop yourself from dying, especially if bleeding internally like I was really, really badly. And due to the pandemic, I was denied treatment and sent home with more medication. And I'll never forget that day when the surgeon told me on the phone, when I managed to get through to her, I said, "This pain meds is not working." Because as it is, I was already living with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, but chronic, like severe to the max, which I'd had for 40 years already. From the time I was born, I was battling with gut issues. And so the pain med stopped working, which means the pain just was rising, and with no way to modulate the pain. And I remember her saying to me, "You know what, I believe you, but this is the best that we can do because of the pandemic."
Oh
And,
my gosh, how did you feel? That must have been so like I would feel alone, just so alone that nobody's listening to
I
me and
was
I'm in
so
so much
scared.
pain.
Oh, people were listening to me. I think I had every surgeon on the phone. I don't know how many times I was rushed into the emergency room, and they were like, "Look, I understand you here again. We're going to scan you again. We're going to tell you the same story. I had ovarian cysts that we had ruptured, actually. 9 centimeter cysts had ruptured. That was the worst pain, actually. I thought I was going to die from that pain. But because of the procedure, the lockdown, the regulations, and the restrictions, all they could do, if you didn't have the virus, of course, was to send you home with more meds. And how I felt that day was I realized, oh crap, no one's coming for me. Like, literally, I'm going to have to get myself out of this. And, after overcoming the shock, I mean, I don't like to admit this, but for the first time ever, I actually thought about just checking out. I remember having big words with the big guy upstairs. I had just been baptized a couple of months before arriving here, actually. And I'm not religious at all, but I'm a very big believer, very spiritual. And I remember saying to him, "Look, I've done everything by the book. I don't know what to do here. Something's got to give. Either you got to take me or you got to save me. But I'm done. I actually have nothing more to give. I was bedridden for 6 months. My husband was home to look after me. Thankfully, he got let go because of the pandemic, which was a blessing because I don't know how I would have looked after myself. I had adrenal fatigue, fatty liver disease. I had 10 different other health issues. And I, the next morning, woke up and went, right, what can I do? Well, I can look on the internet. I'm very savvy that way. I had time and internet on my hands. That was it. Couldn't eat, couldn't keep food down, couldn't do anything else. So I just tapped away at the laptop and just started really researching. And a very, very good friend, my longest, best friend in the world, also has similar health issues. And she'd already overcome a couple. And she said, look, Rox, have a look at this. Have a look at that. Just research. And she kind of just planted the seed. And I'm a researcher by nature, so I just opened up the books and researched. Well, on the internet, of course. And then I tried one thing after the next. And a very good friend at the time had introduced me to a pack of essential oils, which at the time I thought was a nice to have. You know, you put them in the bath, they're nice to make the room smell nice, aromatherapy, massaging. Never did I quite understand how potent they were when you use them internally, medical grade, of course. And I remember lying there on my 40th birthday, 27th of July, 2020. And I thought, this is not how I thought I would be celebrating my 40th. I mean, we moved here thinking that I would have the best 40th, the best birthday, if anything. And I was so sick, my curtains were closed because I had such an insane headache. I couldn't keep water down or food. So I was malnourished, dehydrated, withering away, really. I know it sounds very dramatic, but it was quite literally the case. And I couldn't even answer the phone. I remember my family were phoning and friends were phoning to wish me. And by nighttime, my mom messaged and said, okay, listen, I'm seriously worried. Can you phone me back? And I messaged and I said, I can't even look at the phone. I've got such a bad headache. And then I don't know what it was. I just woke up the next morning. It was prayer. I'd given the big guy, an ultimatum. And the next morning I just woke up and I had this little bit of strength just to go, well, peppermint essential oil. I know peppermint works for digestion. I always loved homeopathy and, traditional Chinese medicine in my 20s. Always dabbled and dabbled in that. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose? I'm just going to drink this stuff. I mean, how bad can it get? And I just started putting a couple of drops. And over a few days, I started to feel this headache subside. I started to keep water down a bit because peppermint essential oil is a natural anti-spasmodic, so it's good for the gut. And all I was trying to do was to heal my gut. Not heal, I didn't even know you could do that. I just was trying to get the pain down. And then I started researching. Well, what is pain? Comes from inflammation. Well, what's inflammation? We take an anti-inflammatory by nature. We're given them by the doctors. Well, what is an anti-inflammatory? Well, what creates inflammation in food? Well, what creates inflammation in our environment? What do we put on our skin? It's like for the first time in my life, I was never really good at school because having gut issues, I couldn't focus. I had ADHD and all those things. I became like this super student. I just started taking things in. And it was like this wealth of knowledge came at me and I just knew what to do with it. Can't explain it really. It just happened the way it did. And then within about 16 weeks, my IBS took a turn for the best. I all of a sudden had no more symptoms. My constipation or diarrhea, give or take, one day it's the one, the next day it's the next, that came right. And then I was able to get out of the bed for the first time in 6 months without collapsing from exhaustion. I was able to keep food down. Like it progressed. And all I was doing was focusing on botanicals, all right, botanical extracts, which is what essential oils are. And then eliminating anything and everything food-wise that creates or triggers inflammation. And a lot of it's plant-based. Now, I'm an advocate for eating healthy all around. I have clients that are vegans, vegetarians, pescatarians, omnivores, you name it. But when it comes to the gut, I was always told over the 2 decades by all the health specialists that as a woman with endometriosis and IBS, you need to avoid red meat. You need to avoid all these things. You need to add extra vegetables and fruits and all these things. And I just thought to myself, well, hang on. What if I just tip it on its head and do everything I've been told not to do, and everything I was doing, stop doing? And so I started eating more meats, less plant-based foods, And that's when I started learning. So I was learning along the way, doing trial and error, journaling everything. Well, this really worked. Well, that didn't work. Well, why did this work? Research. Well, why didn't this work? Research. And then by March 2021, it happened to be endometriosis awareness month in the UK. I didn't know at the time. And I went for a walk because that's a nice time of the year in Scotland. And I realized, oh, hang on, I've actually got my period today and I'm out of the bed and I'm walking and I have no pain. And I mean, by that stage, I'd already lost the last of my 30 kilos of weight because I was on hormone treatments for about 9 years, bloated up like a fish. By the age of, 39, I was like so heavy. And so I just realized, oh my gosh, I got to put this on Facebook. I did a little video and I shared it on Facebook, and it was all around women with endometriosis. That, guys, this really can actually happen. I don't know how I've done it, but I know I've done it, and I'm going to keep researching and connect the dots. And that's when I started studying. And the thing went viral, and a bunch of women, mostly South Africans, funnily enough, all found me from around the world. And we dived in and did a really fun challenge because I couldn't earn. I wasn't able to earn a penny at that stage. Otherwise, I would have gotten deported, which actually would have been a good thing because I was trying to get back home. But I thought, well, I'm going to do a fun, free challenge. I can't promise it's going to work. And the funny thing was that all the women, there were about 20 of us, they didn't all have endometriosis. Some were over 60, some had other health issues, and they were just super fascinated by what I'd done all round. I'd lost weight, I'd balanced my hormones, I cleaned out fatty liver disease, I had no an IBS. I mean, I haven't had an IBS symptom since 2020. And so we dived in. I taught them what I'd done. I put together a one-page blueprint of the steps that I followed, the supplements I took when I took them, because there's a code to this, or a secret to this. Certain things you need to do at certain times before you eat, then after you eat. And I recorded when I was fasting, so what time I was having my first meal. And I just taught what I'd done, and I taught it on. And it was a 21-day challenge, and everybody got results. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like,
That is
amazing.
incredible. Like, I mean, e- even as a coach, I mean, I've done things, but it's like, yeah, getting that results, that's impressive.
Yeah, it was pretty extraordinary to watch. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm onto something here. And I got super excited because there's no amount of money in the world that can make you feel excited like it is when a woman says to you, I can be out of the bed now again. I don't have pain anymore. My relationships are flow. I mean, I get goosebumps just saying it. Like, it's priceless to be part of that experience. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to actually just give up my corporate career, and I'm just going to do this full time. So then I dived into the research. I became certified as a ketogenic diet specialist. I studied intermittent fasting, autophagy, all those fancy biohacks. I studied herbalism, although it was more the traditional herbalism course. And I then became my own botanical biohacker using concentrated essential oils. And the fascinating thing, it gets better, is that by the end of 2022, I had tested my inflammation markers, testing the glycans. Now, some people know telomeres, end caps of your DNA. They can be quite precise, but your glycans are the most accurate for longevity and inflammation. And they came back to say that at the age of 42 years old, I'd actually reversed my biological age by 22 years. And what that means is that at 42, I had the cells of a 20-year-old. So my body was restoring and regenerating like that of a 20-year-old, because things start to slow down after 30 and 40. And I was like, okay, this explains why I feel so amazing, because I kept on saying to everybody, guys, I can't explain it. I feel like I did in my 20s. I have all day energy. I didn't get vaccinated. I do that by choice. And I was amongst people that had COVID. I was in and out of hospital from 20 to 2021. And my immune system was just so strong, like it had ever been before. And then I got an MRI done of my spine because I did have a bit of inflammation, and I thought, you know what, it's probably that overdue backup, because going back to 2011, when they did an MRI of my spine, they said that I had multiple discs that were herniating. The one had completely severed my spinal cord. They said I'd be back in 6 months for another op. I never went back. They said I had a back of a 50-year-old. I had degenerative disc disease, that it would only be worse. It would only get worse in time. So by 2022, I thought, this inflammation here somewhere, it's probably that very long overdue backup that I'm due for. So I got the MRI done, and the neurologist said, I don't know how to explain this to you, but your back, and she used the words pristine. She's a little bit of wear and tear here and there. She said, but there's no pressure on the spinal cord or compression. She said, if anything, it's healed fine. Your discs are fine. Everything is fine. She said, I don't even believe it. That's your scan from before. And then I went home and I realized, oh my gosh, how much more can the body heal? So I started researching and looking at everything, and something jumped out of me, the mitochondria. And I'm like, what's the mitochondria? I mean, I didn't know these things. And when I looked at the medical archives, it still states on one of the sightings that if you want to be able to heal a severed spinal cord, which is medically impossible, there's a link with the mitochondrial restoration. And I was like, well, how do you repair the mitochondria? It comes down to mitochondrial uncoupling, and that's where essential oils come in, because there's certain essential oils that restore the mitochondria, and ketones. So I'd already been doing MCT oil, olive oil, coconut oil. Those are mitochondrial uncoupling oils. I was drinking frankincense, myrrh, peppermint, grapefruit, all these other essential oils. Those are mitochondrial uncoupling oils. And the list is longer, right? So I had to reverse engineer it and then draw this whole program and go, well, that's what I've done. Here's the MRIs. Here's a list of the things that I was doing to get those results. And then I just started sharing this through my program. I've been teaching this one-on-one to women. I teach it men now as well. And it's honestly just grown from there. Yeah, that's my whole story.
Oh my goodness. There was parts where I was just like bursting. I'm like, what? Yay, yay.
Yeah,
Because
it's been a
what a success
incredible journey
story.
by default.
Yeah. Well, but you did it. That's the thing is you went through, you didn't just sit and feel sorry for yourself because unfortunately, I have to say there was a long time I sat there very feeling sorry for myself for a long time. But you got out there, you researched, you did it, and now you're helping others, which is so incredible. And I see your passion in your heart, how you want to help. Yeah, of course, how you want to help others, and I can see that. And I mean, gosh, I mean, what an incredible journey and story and person that you are.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. You know what really grabbed me the most was that after I got these results, especially with endometriosis, I didn't realize the suicide rates until I started researching. I didn't think about it because suicide was never on my list in terms of, giving up with endometriosis. I just got used to living in pain. If you think about it, so I've been in pain all my life. So you don't know any other way. And then I started researching the numbers in the UK of women with endometriosis who are taking their lives. And I burst out crying on the phone with my best friend. And I said, I've got to do something about this. I didn't realize this. I mean, I get emotional talking about it now, but I didn't realize it. So that just actually, I'm getting emotional saying, that just really fueled me. Like, I didn't realize it.
That's so special. And you have this gift of
You're
helping
making
women.
me well.
I think it's amazing and I love what you're doing. Um, it's just, I don't know, people need to hear about this, that there is a way, that there
There
is
is.
hope,
There
right?
really
If you
is.
have endometriosis, if you're having issues, you know your mitochondria is being depleted or whatever is going on with your body, inflammation. I mean, I live with an autoimmune illness every single day of my life because of my breast implants that I had. And it's hard. I have to work, I have to know what to do in order to help my body. And now I'm doing great, like you, Roxanne, you're doing great, but you have to have that knowledge, and having a guide and a coach that has gone through it and
It's
has
so
that knowledge. It's
empowering. Yes, and you can
Mhm.
relate because it's so empowering when we all of a sudden realize that we don't have to give our power away to other experts. And I'm not knocking the Western medical. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the surgeons. I would have bled out many times, right? I had aggressive symptoms. But at some point, we need to stop giving our power away. And I think during lockdown, I was forced into a corner, and all of a sudden, I was the only one that could get myself out. And had that had not happened, I don't know if I would have done what I did. I probably would have just felt sorry for myself like I did for 20 years, thinking, well, there's no solution because it's incurable. Is it? So, like, yeah, I don't want to take all the credit. Look, I'm proud of myself, definitely, without a doubt. But it's not our fault. You know, if you haven't figured out how to do it and you're at home now sitting sorry, feeling sorry for yourself watching this interview, it's not your fault. It wasn't my fault. And Cecily, wasn't your fault either. When we're told, well, you got an autoimmune condition, endometriosis is an autoimmune condition, they're now realizing it. It's not our fault. We're being told that our bodies have limits. And I don't believe that. Not for
Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah, I'm right there. I agree 100%. And I love what you said, that it's not your fault, right?
No.
These are things that this is our culture, this is what we're being told. But the good news is that we have examples like you, Roxanne, and me with
You.
what I went through, but that
Absolutely.
you can heal. It's possible to reverse those things. I know I had spinal stenosis before, because I was in an accident. And so after basically healing myself, right, giving my body the right things, I went back and had an MRI and it was gone.
See.
So
See.
so it's
So
possible.
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And I think a lot of time when it comes to health, that word is so wishy-washy. When it comes to healing the human body, right? Because you have sick care, and I think people need to start understanding the definition of things. Medical aid and medical insurance is not healthcare. It's sick care. We need it. Healthcare is when someone helps you heal. It's two different lanes, right? And I'm on a mission to change the narrative on human healing and get in front of those boards of medical physicians with full respect and say, let's work together, guys. I can't prescribe something. I can't diagnose somebody. I can't perform surgery. We need you guys. But at
Right.
some point, you need to hand your patients over to healthcare providers that can help heal, show you how to heal the body. You heal, I don't heal you. Your body heals itself. But there's so many things out there that one can do. There's so many variations of certain supplements. People are overwhelmed by all the options. So there's so many things you could do, but there's only so many things you need to do. And when you focus on your mitochondria, when you focus on your gut and you get the good bacteria up and the bad bacteria down, it's really simple, actually. When you focus on those elements, because that's all I did, that's all I did, everything else in the body starts to work better. And all of a sudden, your stem cells activate. I've activated my own stem cell. That's how I did it. That's the only way you can heal your spinal cord. You don't need to go and get other stem cells put into you. Please don't ever do that. Please. It's just so it comes with risks. You can activate your own. These things, your body can do this. You just need somebody to show you how. And I mean, you're doing incredible work. You're also a testament of how the body can heal. And we're both still healing. I've cured my IBS. I can confidently say that. I've put my endometriosis into remission. It'll be 4 years next year, and I'm on a mission to cure it next. So I think the more
Wow.
that people like us, you and I, and there's so many more of us coming forward, the more people start advocating for this and start talking about this, the more people will start believing in their body. And I think that's the movement. That's the movement
Wow.
that's happening right now.
I love it. Yeah, and that's exactly right. We want a movement. We want a health movement, a real health movement,
Yes.
because it's not emergency care, it is
No.
health care.
And the thing is, I often ask my clients, wouldn't you love to live to 100? And most of them go, hell no. Why would I want to be in a wheelchair at 70? And I'm like, okay, stop. Just because you're going to be 70 does not mean you'll be in a wheelchair. If you figure this out, you can actually live comfortably past 100 and one day just not wake up. Like your body will get to a point, right? You don't have to suffer, quite literally. So we need to change the narrative. We need to change the perception. We need to relabel things. Like the definition of things has to change. And then everybody just needs to play fair in their own lane with respect. We're not here for ourselves. We're here for others. And I think that's the message that needs to come across.
Wow, Roxanne, thank you so much. Well, I fulfilled. You have such a beautiful heart and beautiful message, and what you're doing is just it's so meaningful to a lot of people. Because I mean, even husbands are or boyfriends or partners are affected when
They
women
are.
have the
They are.
endometriosis. It is very, I've had friends, family members that have had it. It is extremely painful. And I just appreciate what you're doing for
Oh,
others.
I'm glad, and that's why I'm actually now also opening up my practice to men as well. I mean, men have guts, so I can help them as well. But I'm finding that couples are working really well together now because the husbands are supporting the woman. So I actually help couples, and every man needs some kind of healing. So it's a 1-2 punch for both. But I'm finding I'm watching them transform as a unit. It's like it's not just individual healing.
Wow.
So there's
Oh
going
my
to be
gosh.
that ripple effect because how many
Mhm.
divorces happen because has men, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault. So it's a ripple effect. We all need to come together, bring all of our skills together because I'm not going to be everybody's coach. My message will echo and fall on the ears of those that need it, just like yours does. That's why there's so many of us and we need to come together and we need to do it quickly because there's a much bigger pandemic on the rise.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you, Roxanne. And we're gonna, do you have like a website or, I know you have a,
I'm currently built. My business has been by referral only, so I haven't really had a website until very recently, and we're busy updating a whole lot of stuff. So the best to get hold of me, if you scan that code, my program is called the Bounce Back Body, and I've just launched a new. It's free to join, completely free to join, men and women. Doesn't matter what your health issue is. Scan the code, otherwise, you can go to, well, essentialpharmaceuticals.com is under construction, but there is an email address. I don't know, maybe I could pop a link
yeah,
underneath the
let's,
interview
yeah,
for those that
let's
can't
put a
scan the
link.
code.
Hmm. Yeah, we'll make sure that in the comments of your interview,
I'll
we'll
pop
put
a link.
any information that they can take and be able to
Even if
connect with
it's
you.
just to connect and have a chat, I think people need to be heard.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. We're here to support, and that's the beauty about what coaches are doing is we're here to support others and let them know they're not alone and that there are solutions because you're solution based. And I love that because that's how I feel is I want
Exactly what I am.
solutions and answers. Not just, oh, okay, yeah, well, good luck. No, I want to really get to the root of the
Absolutely. And we want to do it
problem.
quickly. We want to do it quickly, which I just happen to be a fast track hacker in general. Like in IT, it always worked well. And so I just applied it to human health and healing. So I'm just gifted that way. We're all gifted uniquely. And I think it's important that we lean into our gifts. And that's mine to find a solution quickly,
And that, what a great gift that is. Because people, I mean, when they're suffering, they don't want to wait a long time.
especially those that can't.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, thank you again, Roxanne.
Thank you for the
I appreciate you so much. And for all of those that are watching today, we appreciate you being here. Just know you're supported, you're loved, and that we're here for you. So reach out. If you resonated with Roxanne and you need some help, please reach out to her. And just remember, there's always hope for healing. Thank you so much, Roxanne.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.